from European transport policies to challenges of regional mobility. In 2019, the European Commission published its key development document, the Green Deal, whose main message was Europe will be the first climate-neutral continent, which it will achieve by 2050. The Green Deal is a comprehensive strategy that prioritized climate neutrality, emission reduction, and sustainable economic growth, reliance on renewable energy, the so-called clean technologies, while not compromising social equity. The EU should transform itself into a modern, efficient, and competitive economy. Subordinate strategic plans should be prepared for the areas of economy, energy, industries, and transport for a more sustainable future. Quantitative goals have been set for what we will achieve in the area of climate neutrality by 2030 and what by 2050. Based on the umbrella document on the European Green Future, a strategy was published in 2020 on how we will tackle the task in the field of mobility. The document was entitled Sustainable and Smart Mobility Strategy, Putting European Union Transport on Track for the Future. The document emphasizes as our vision, mobility and transport matters to all us. Mobility brings many benefits for its users, but causes greenhouse gas emissions, air, noise, water pollution, accidents and crashes, congestion, and biodiversity loss. The most serious challenge is the reduction of greenhouse gases emissions at least by 55% by 2030 and the climate neutrality by 2050. The task is to further greening mobility for the transport sector to grow, further develop well-functioning single market, to ensuring that transport system is truly resilient against future crises by fostering cohesion, reducing regional disparities, as well as improving connectivity and access to the internal market for all regions. It is interesting that the keyword resilient for future crises appears for the first time in such documents, which at the time of the creation of this document primarily meant resistance to pandemic-like disruptions. The document further states that digitalization is the driver for the modernization of the entire system, for maintaining the European leadership in transport equipment manufacturing and services, and improving our global competitiveness. The strategy further states that it is crucial that mobility is available and affordable for all, that rural and remote regions are better connected, to make sure that the green and digital transition are socially fair. A scheme has been prepared that specifies the measures by which the transport sector should achieve the set goals in the field of greenhouse emission reduction by a certain date. So by 2030, at least 30 million zero-emission vehicles will be in operation on European roads. 100 European cities will already be climate neutral. High-speed rail will double. Scheduled collective travel under 500 kilometers should be carbon neutral within the European Union. Automated mobility will be deployed at a large scale. Zero-emission vessels will become ready for market. By 2035, zero-emission large aircraft will be ready for market. By 2050, nearly all cars, vans, buses, and heavy-duty vehicles will be zero emission. Rail freight traffic will double, high-speed rail traffic will triple, and the multimodal trans-European transport network, equipped for sustainable and smart transport with high-speed connectivity, will be operational for the comprehensive network. So we know the current situation. We set the target value for the greenhouse gas emissions indicator. So measures as target values for the composition of the transport fleet and the scope of climate-neutral transport infrastructure are set. The question is, what will be the effects of the above mentioned measures? To assess the effects of the measures taken, experts provide scenarios, that is, descriptions of external circumstances, and develop models, that is, equations, with which we calculate the expected values of the main indicators in the future. So, for this reason, the staff working document for experts was also published, with many model calculations and scenarios on how individual measures would affect the reduction in greenhouse gas emissions. As a conclusion, from the perspective of regional mobility planning and management, there are always two types of questions open. How to implement the general messages from EU policies to the local and regional day-to-day mobility planning and management practice. And the second question, should the general European transport policy launched in 2019, faced with global developments between 2019 and 2026, be reconsidered? Two keywords are primarily meant: resilience in terms of European self-sufficiency and losses in European global competitiveness. Thank you.